Hi, welcome to our talk on the Taiwan Employment Gold Card. My name is Jonathan Liao, and I'm the Project Director of the Gold Card Office. Today I'll be giving you an introduction to the Gold Card Visa program, and then interviewing Patrick Lee from San Francisco and Yvette Zhang from New York about their moving to Taiwan. So what is the Gold Card? The Taiwan Employment Gold Card was started by the National Development Council in Taiwan as part of the Act for the Recruitment and Employment of Foreign Professionals in October 2017. It acted as a way to attract more foreign professionals to Taiwan. The Gold Card is a 4-in-1 residence and work visa card, valid for up to 3 years. It allows the Gold Card holder to reside in Taiwan long-term during that time, provides a legal permit to work full-time, part-time, freelance, or to start a business. It includes an Alien Resident Card, or ARC, which serves as an identity card that is used for local identification, such as when opening a bank account, filing your taxes, or using the e-gate at the airport. The Gold Card also is a re-entry permit, which means you're allowed to leave and enter Taiwan when you desire, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. Gold Card holders are also eligible for income tax deductions, national health insurance, and can apply for resident visas for their spouse and children, or apply for visitor visas for their direct family members, such as their parents. Qualifications for the Gold Card fall into 8 industry fields: science and technology, economy, finance, education, culture and arts, sports, law, and architecture. Applicants will need to review and provide documents to show that they qualify for one of the individual criteria that is on the website in order to be approved for a Gold Card. The application process is done online, where individuals can fill in their details and upload their documents. No sponsorship from a company or agent is required. After paying for the fee, the application is reviewed by the different ministries and departments, including the qualification review, where the relevant ministry will look at the documents you provided to ensure you qualify. The process normally takes 45 to 60 days for an application that doesn't require additional documents, although processing times are now taking longer due to the increase of applications. The Taiwan Employment Gold Card Office is a project office started by the National Development Council in October 2020 in order to facilitate in the recruitment and application of the Gold Card. As of March 2021, there are over 2,400 cards issued, so the office was also created as a single point of contact for all Gold Card holders in Taiwan, as well as future candidates. One of our main functions is as the help desk for all questions related to the Gold Card. This could be about the application process, general information about moving to Taiwan, as well as any requests and feedback from the Gold Card community. All of our information is on the official website at goldcard.nat.gov.tw. This includes our help desk email, program information about the Gold Card, how to apply, as well as an FAQ section from the community. We also provide news, job opportunities, and other resources about living in Taiwan. The Gold Card Office also puts on many events for the community. This includes tax workshops, information sharing, corporate matchmaking with local Taiwan companies, recruitment seminars, as well as a variety of social events and mixers. Feel free to look us up on the website, goldcard.nat.gov.tw, or on LinkedIn at Taiwan Employment Gold Card Office. We hope to see you soon.
I'm Patrick Lee, serial entrepreneur, co-founder, and founding CEO of Rotten Tomatoes, and also mentoring a lot of different tech accelerators, advising a number of startups, and just back in Taiwan trying to figure out what's next.
Cool.
I'm Yvette Zhang. I'm from New York, born and raised in New York. I am the founder and principal of Craft House Consulting, so we do hospitality strategy work, and our clients are all over the world, so that allows me to work 24 hours a day, no matter where I am, and so Taiwan is really just a no-brainer for us. It's a place to call home for the next foreseeable future.
What were your previous connections to Taiwan?
So my mom is Taiwanese, and we come from a very matriarchal family, and so my first time to Taiwan was 1984. I was 4 years old, and every 4 years, at least, we would come back for a family reunion. So pretty big family reunion, 15 cousins. It's now upwards of 60 people altogether. Our next reunion's next year. So Taiwan has always been really close to my heart. And coming back, it was always home, restaurant, home, restaurant, maybe a site, maybe Taroko Gorge, and like another restaurant. And I just never felt like I really knew Taiwan. So then I came back again when I was in college, and I had an internship here one summer. Oh, sorry, before that I did Love Boat, of course.
Cool.
And then when I lived in Hong Kong for 9 years, I came to Taiwan a lot, either for work or leisurely. And I just felt like it was a connection. I felt connected to it. And I have a family now, and luckily my husband is in an industry where he is also connected to Taiwan and what's happening here. And so we felt like, for years, we actually felt like there was an opportunity to come here. We just didn't know how. And this has been an opportunity that has allowed my daughter to come here at the same age. Like, she's 4. And so seeing her experience Taiwan very differently, because when we take her out, like, we fully immerse her in everything. It's been a real joy. It's very cool.
Nice. Patrick, what about you?
So yeah, my parents were actually born in Fujian, and they came to Taiwan when they were, I think, like 2 or 3 because of the war. And they grew up here, went to high school, college, and then they went to the U.S. for grad school. So I was actually born in the States and grew up in the States. Connections to Taiwan, like, yeah, we would come back, I think when I was a kid. In high school, I definitely remember coming back at least, I think twice. Once I actually came here with my Chinese school for a month where we were learning like Chinese opera, which
Here,
is super
in
cool.
Taiwan.
Yeah, and staying in like a camp and stuff. And outside of that, it would be every couple years I would come back for like a week or so. Never really thought about living here. I lived in China actually for 3 years and Hong Kong for 6. And I did not expect to come back and live in Asia after that. I moved back to the States after that 9-year period, and I didn't think I was ever going to come back. In 2019, Steve Chen came out here, and then he started telling me about the Gold Card program and asked me to visit. So I came in and for a week and hung out with him. Again, wasn't thinking about actually coming here long term. And then COVID happened. More and more friends from the States started coming back to the point where eventually I was like, yeah, maybe it'd be worth coming to Taiwan to check it out for a few months, catch up with friends here, actually be able to go out, and then that was it, just come back for a 3-month trip. That 3 month, I came back in end of November of last year. That 3-month trip, we decided to extend it longer, and now it looks like I'm going to be staying here for at least the rest of this year. So that 3-month trip is now looking to be at least a 13-month trip.
Nice.
Yeah.
You came around November last year.
I think
also?
we were like possibly even on the same flight. And we came, so originally we were supposed to come last February, just because we come to Taiwan a lot, and canceled that flight for obvious reasons. And then when it came to November, we're like, okay, if we can hold our breath for 15 hours or whatever it is. Actually, the domestic flight was scarier. It's like, if we can hold our breath for the whole flight, let's just go. We'll quarantine, and then we'll be with family. And actually, the quarantine is nothing when you compare it to what you can do once you're here, right? And I mean, our daughter has picked up, she didn't speak any Chinese before, and it's pretty broken, but she's a sponge. They're a sponge at this age. So we're like, it's worth it, just for that alone, just for her to have some cultural immersion, just to be with family. And so we extended probably in February, the same time you did. And then I applied. I was waiting for my Gold Card application to go through, and when it came through, we were like, all right, this is it. This is the chance we've been waiting for. And it's something we've wanted before in the past, so how awesome is that?
So you applied in Taiwan.
I applied in Taiwan, and I think we waited until January. I can't remember why, but I applied January 1st this year, and found out, I think, in March, probably. I don't know. When did you find out? Is it already April? Yeah.
It's April.
Time flies.
I started applying in
Wow.
October or September.
Fall, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, so you applied before you got here?
Yeah. I mean, actually, I was curious. Were you on a work visa? Because I thought you couldn't do tourist anymore or student. So
we had to go to TICO in New York with like proof of lineage.
Oh.
Because your parents were in Taiwan.
My parents were here. My mom, they're both residents.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we didn't get that paperwork authenticated when we were there. So now that, even though I have a gold card, like, all that paperwork for my husband and my daughter are now in New York
Oh,
to
man.
prove that they're family. Even though it was proven, because they're here.
They're here now.
Yeah.
But not proven enough, apparently. So
Yeah, so like I have no family here anymore, so that gold card was my only option, really.
Did you guys find it particularly difficult, or
I
what was
didn't.
the most confusing part of it?
What was confusing was that it didn't ask a lot of questions. I mean, I work in an industry where we have a lot of private members clubs, and we're asking people like way more questions than the gold card is asking, and they're giving you a visa to live here and breathe here. So I was shocked by that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there's something missing. I felt like I was missing something. And then I hit submit and closed my eyes, crossed my fingers, and 2 months later I got an email. So it was more that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did feel like there was not a lot of information as well. I don't know if it's by design.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just after foreign professionals. So
Yeah.
it's really the background of the candidates, as opposed to an actual interview where they may be asking you what you intend to do.
Right.
If that changes, we don't know yet. But I think the program it's meant to recruit just a wide variety of professionals. How was moving back with your family?
So we've traveled with her since she was born, and we've lived abroad in different places with her, so she's accustomed to it. And we got her the face shield, we got her the mask, so she's always been really good about it.
Mm-hmm.
When we got here, she was wide-eyed, and like everything was awesome, and it continues to be. So I think we packed everything into the first 3 months. We're like, this is our 3 months. We're gonna go and see and do absolutely everything we can. We went around the island. We did Sun Moon Lake, Alishan, like full-on tourist, everything. Every waking moment, I was like, we don't know when we're gonna come back. We don't know when we're gonna come back. So let's go and do this. Got our first extension. Finally enrolled her into a program which is fully play-based, and that's when her Chinese really picked up. From the beginning, we had her joining like this amazing hiking group, which is just. The hiking teacher is a gem. He's like just a beautiful person who's teaching kids about like responsibility and nature and all this stuff. And through that, we've like gone to all corners of Taipei that we would never go to. Right? You're like, how did we land up in this place with this 3-hour hike with 4-year-olds who are just like, we can do this. And so she's been a rock star. So long as she's having a good time here, she's learned so much. She learned how to rollerblade in Da'an Park, like 3 and 4-year-olds rollerblading.
Mm-hmm.
She learned how to ride a 2-wheel bicycle. She's learned how to swim. She's taking soccer classes. And like, I just got a notification that we have to buy jerseys for a competition. I'm like, what for? And we can sponsor it. And I'm like, what? Sponsor like these jerseys for 4-year-olds. So she's all good.
Living it up, it seems. Yeah.
She's living it up. And
Wow.
she's like, there are treats everywhere. She loves the food. We love the food. There's never a dull moment.
I think she's living a better life than I am here.
Has this visit been different for you this time around, or?
Yeah, I mean, prior to this, the longest I've ever been in Taiwan at one time was a month.
Yeah.
And that was in high school. So I think I made a decision to extend just a month out of quarantine, like, in January sometime, like mid-January, late January.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was here, people would tell us about things that are like much better than, or stuff that you can't get in the States. Like, for example, I got married last October,
Mm-hmm.
and people were like, do the wedding photos. So we did that, and that was like amazing. And did the full body exam.
Gotta do that, right?
That was also amazing. For a price of the full body exam where we did just about everything, it's probably the price of doing like one of those tests with insurance in the U.S.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy the difference in the price, and just the professionalism and everything was so efficient with both the photo shoot for the wedding stuff as well as the full body exam. And then another thing that we're going to be doing here, my wife is expecting, and we just signed up to go. The Zhongxing, the postpartum center.
Yeah.
Right.
And that, like, I went and visited it, and I was like, I didn't even know such a thing existed, and it turns out it doesn't exist in the States, really.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is amazing. And everyone who's had kids here, they're all telling us like, you have to do it. And we visit and we're like, this makes a lot of sense. So we are extending till the end of the year primarily because of that,
Yeah.
actually. So there's some stuff here that a lot of this doesn't exist in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And when you combine that with like Taiwan's response to COVID, it just, certain things here feel like almost like magic compared to how they are in the States. Here in Taiwan, similar to when I lived in Hong Kong or visited Tokyo or visited Singapore, it's like you can go around here anytime by yourself and you don't even think about like, oh, I should watch where I am, watch where I'm going, you know, be aware of my surroundings. Like your spider sense is never on.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in the Bay Area, San Francisco, even any time of the day, even with friends, you still are like always kind of aware. And that's before all this like anti-Asian hate crimes have started, you know, and that's all made things even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I went to the States after living in Asia for 9 years and going back to the States, that was one of the first things I noticed. I'm like, oh wow, like I'm always having to be aware, and I forgot about that when I lived in Asia, and I stopped to think about that. And being back in Taiwan, same thing has happened again. I don't have to think about that. Maybe the only thing would be like, oh, watch out for like scooters,
Mm-hmm.
right? But not like, oh, watch out by someone might mug you or something like that.
I have to say, I mean, it's a very privileged, it's very privileged, right? Like we get to be here, and the safety is not an issue, and you will notice it even more so if you stay long enough that your kids are around. Like you can leave your kid at the park, you can let them hang out in front of your building, and it's not going to be an issue. You can leave your door unlocked, and I love the States for all of the issues it has, but you can't do those things, right? You always have to kind of be on guard, and it's sad. So having the freedom to allow your kids to be kids, I mean, it's never going to be like, them living on a farm in Germany, which is where my husband's from. It's not going to be that free, but it's so much more free, and it's
yeah. No, I mean, I've heard
relief.
I think safety and convenience seems to be quite high that people don't actually think about until you're actually here and you're experiencing that it's safe and convenient.
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't been back to the States in a while now, but it seems like things have certainly changed a little with COVID, even before COVID. I think that for families, people are concerned about these kind of issues that we don't think about in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think coming to Taiwan this time has really reinforced my feelings for the country. I just feel like it's everything I thought it would be or knew it would be, right? And then plus some. And I think when you have kids or when you're in a new community, that's your time to be able to make new friends, right? It's easy to make new friends. Whereas at home, you're not just going to make friends in a park when you live there for 15, 20 years. It's kind of like being able to expand your thinking and your network in new ways. And that's always fun when you move to a new place. So I think it's cool that there are so many people here. And we've met individuals from all corners of the world and locals as well. So it's kind of reinforced that. I think it's so nice to have a sense of community. And I think expat communities, expats in general, no matter where you are, it's a culture in and of itself, right? It's like if you live in Shanghai or Hong Kong or Taiwan or wherever, it's never really the same as living in back home. I think once you've had that taste of living abroad, there's something you share with other people who've done it as well.
Yeah, the thing also that you remind me of is that's really interesting is the same friends that I knew in the Bay Area, I would see them a few times a year.
Right.
I see them a few times a week now. Like it's so much because it's more dense, and I think people who came here maybe have a little bit more time available than they did in the States, and so we see them all the time. And I actually have seen them more in the past few months than I've seen them the rest of my life combined, even for folks that I've known like a decade. Right. It's crazy, like how much more I've been able to hang out with them.
Do you feel in some ways that that you've just shaved off like 10, 15, 20 years of your life and now you're in like post-college mode again?
Actually, a lot of friends have mentioned that. College was probably the last time where you're kind of like an adult and have so much free time to hang out with people and meet new people and everything, and it does feel like college.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you think that would change, though? I mean, so things are back to normal. Everyone has their vaccines and stuff. And even if part of the people move back to the States, yourself are in the States and stuff, do you think that, either being in the States or back in Taiwan, that I'm guessing there's going to be pockets of people in both sides. Do you think people will be business back to normal, or do you think this kind of new kind of living, remote working and so forth, will be continuing?
Well, I definitely expect a good chunk of folks to start heading back, with the vaccines in the States, with summer coming up here in Taiwan. Yeah. Even now, like now that I know I'm going to be here through the end of the year, myself and I've seen other friends who are planning to stay longer, already asking other friends, like, are you staying? Are you staying? You're just trying to see who's still going to be around. Mm-hmm. I do think with COVID and before that, I was not really big on remote work personally, and I did Zoom calls and stuff, but I wasn't crazy about it. I preferred in person, but I got used to it, and I actually now prefer it. It's just so much more efficient, and you can talk to anyone in the whole world. Right. And so now anything I do, I want to be like, how do I make sure that I can do it remotely, or have that flexibility to be able to do it remotely. Right. And so I think the folks who are still here will probably start figuring out more like what they want to do or moving forward. So there will be a little bit of like that business aspect, but I don't think it's going to be exactly the same as like when we were all in the Bay Area. I think it's going to be maybe halfway there. Yeah.
What about you?
I think there are definitely people who are on the cusp because they have property at home, right? So once you have property, you still have cars, you still have maybe pets even, right? Forget about plants, but like it's really hard to think about not returning home at some point. Mm-hmm. But I think that I've always remote worked. I've always been a digital nomad, but for me it's more not thinking about jumping from place to place and living and working, but like finding places where we can live long term. And I think that there will definitely be people who go back, and then there will be people who realize that maybe the grind that we're going through at home is not really worth it. I mean, again, this is a very privileged statement, right? But I mean, if there are things that we could be doing here and living life and really having that work-life blend a little bit better, is it worth it? Now, for me, I work like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And for me, but it's worth it. I'm just like, I'm like living two lives. Because daytime I'm, mama bear, and at nighttime I'm like, responding to clients. It's hard to know. At the same time, I'm like, maybe I can just forget about my business back home and do something different here.
Yeah. Yeah, Patrick, I mean, you have your Stone Soup social events. You used to run those back home, and you recently had one in Taiwan. Did you observe any differences in executing it and the attendance?
Right, so I've been doing these events, Stone Soup Social, in Hollywood, combining people in tech and venture from Silicon Valley with entertainment people in Hollywood. I was doing it in 2019 and one more early 2020 before we weren't able to do them anymore because of COVID. So just last week ended up trying one in Taipei, and I think it was pretty good. It was heavier tech and venture than the ones I had been doing in the States. But outside of that, I think it was a good event for the first time trying to really put it on at the same level as what I was doing in Hollywood. I think we did a pretty good job. Really good support from sponsors, from volunteers and other partners to put it together. And with everyone being the first time kind of experiencing it, like it came off pretty smoothly and the feedback was quite good. We weren't sure when we were putting on if the interest would be there, because in the States, like folks in Hollywood definitely wanted to connect with folks in Silicon Valley, but we didn't know in Taiwan if people in entertainment would want to connect with tech and venture people. But it seemed good. Folks said that they were meeting new people and actually making new friends and actually connecting, like following up with coffees, lunches, dinners, etc. So that seemed quite positive. So yeah, I wasn't sure how it would turn out, but I think it came out quite close to what I was hoping it to be.
Did you find that the amount of time it took to organize and produce was longer or shorter than it takes in the States, even though you've done it before in the States?
It was similar. We had kind of this, because of we wanted to bring on Kevin Lin to speak, and he was heading back to the States, so we really only had 3 weeks to really put everything together. We had already lined up like a venue sponsor and a food sponsor and stuff, so some of the big pieces were out of the way, but we pulled everything together in 3 weeks, which is actually quite fast, because in the States normally I would take 2 months to really properly plan everything out. And yeah, it was about the same amount of work and everything, and we tried to bring in a lot of the same kind of like policies and everything that we ran in the States, and we weren't sure how people would take it here, but people seemed to comply with everything, and it ended up turning out fine. Yeah.
It's great to hear. I mean, yeah, I think it's always interesting to try something that you've been doing back home in a different country.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully you'll do more of these.
Yeah, hopefully maybe get to do one more before I go or whatever, or before my wife has a baby, in which case I don't think I'll be able to do anything.
No, probably not.
Or you guys might stay forever.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
you never
You
know.
really
You
never know.
never know.
Yeah.
I mean, when you came, when did you come?
I moved back 11 years ago,
And
actually.
how long were you coming back for?
So actually before, I was in London before, and then I was actually deciding between San Francisco or Taiwan. And by that time I'd already been abroad for just over 10 years. So I was like, kind of time to come home with my parents, see how I could figure out things here. And it was exactly that, trying different business ventures or, work ventures that I'm used to abroad, but seeing how it applied in Taiwan. I think Taiwan's also one of those places where you really do kind of have to mold your business to the local market and see where you fit. I didn't come back with the intention of running the Gold Card program, but it's kind of different opportunities come up, and as long as you're flexible, there's it's been a great program to run. I've met so many people, really cool people that I'd never be able to meet, and it's really nice to see that everyone's here and doing their own thing, but also keeping in mind that this is a country that they have some connection to, and they like to give back somehow. It's a program they enjoy, and wherever they go, in the future, it seems like at least there's that experience and memory, I guess, of what it's been like here. So I think that's the really cool part. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Nivette, for attending today's session. It's great to hear your thoughts and experiences of moving back to Taiwan. So hope you enjoy the rest of your time here. And again, if you're, we never know what the future holds for us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
thank you.
Why isn't this a tourism job?
Yeah, I actually think so. Like, 'cause when we came
Absolutely.
and we did literally those 3 things, the wedding photo shoot, which was crazy, like the one we went to, it was
Glamour shots.
but it was
Say glamour
all in the
shots.
same building.
Yeah.
Everything was there. You just do it all there. Super efficient, 7-hour, crazy, like multiple changes and whatever. And that was amazing. The full body exam, all one day, super efficient. And then, well, we haven't done it yet, but just visiting it, I'm like, how this thing is amazing. I could see people literally almost doing what I did. Like, those are all, just come here, get the full body exam, have your kid here, all that kind of stuff. Do your
Medical
wedding.
tourism is a
Medical
whole
tourism.
another aspect, and like Thailand and a lot of places in Asia do it a lot. I think what I was trying to do was see if there are any like luxury postpartum centers, because I would love to see
No, there
the
are.
hospitality angle. Is there? Like, does
There-
it feel like going to a Mandarin Oriental or an Amman? Like, is
It's
it?
maybe
could there
not
be
that-
something
that
like
level, but it
why
was-
not?
The 2 I looked at were both quite good. I think if you really wanted to do that, you could probably up the quality of the room and all those things. But and I didn't look at the lower ones because I heard the 2 I saw were already among the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably could even bring it even another level or 2 higher, but they're already quite amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, hospitality is it's remarkable in Asia.